if you look at Kelvin Joseph, he had 9 starts at Kentucky last year, and that was it. Versus Nahshon Wright had 16 starts over the previous 2 years. And, I mean, we're not talking about either one of them being like these wealth of college football experience on the starting level, but do you think that one season of starting could mean it just takes a little bit longer for him to get in the flow?
Maybe. And, it's interesting. I didn't listen to the game on 105.3 The Fan, and I heard from people that Broadus was awesome along with Barry Church, and obviously Brad Sham was there too. But I watched the game on television, so I got Babe Laufenberg and I believe Isaiah Skandrick, who were doing the game. Did I say that right? He was Standback. Yeah, he was the Washington quarterback. We took his wide receiver and never really, really worked out as a wide receiver in the NFL, but gave it a go. And I thought Babe gave us some insight there, not only on the games played, but when he's broke down Kelvin Joseph in these 2 games that I've watched, he said, that's bad technique, that he's got to put his hands on him here. Because Babe understands those things more than I do, right? He played football forever. He analyzes football forever. And so when I'm listening to Babe talk about Wright and talking about Kelvin Joseph in these preseason games, it sounds like Kelvin Joseph still has a lot of technique to work on, and I'm not saying Wright doesn't, but it just sounds like Wright is ahead of the technique, the where to be, why to be there at this time, why you put your hands here, why you try to jam a little bit and get them off the route. And so I'm just thinking, listening to Babe and then watching the 2 preseason games that I've watched, is that maybe Kelvin Joseph, not that he's not going to be good in the NFL, but he has a long way to go. Maybe he just didn't get coached very well. I know he was at LSU, which is a premium football school to go to, but he wasn't there very long, so I don't know all the coaching he took. Sometimes you can talk to Broadus about this, or I can talk about it in baseball. Sometimes when you have a kid that's very talented, but I hate saying this, but I'm just putting general terms, but not very smart. They don't really understand the game, but they seem to be successful at it. Sometimes in college, because you're limited with practice, you're limited with what you can do, you're like, let them do it the wrong way. It's working. It's going to help us win. But then when you get to a level where now you're facing the top 1% of receivers in the world, that technique, that style's not going to work. And so you let them fail in preseason, and then you're like, see how you got beat really bad, see how this and that happened. Do you understand now why you have to do these things that maybe coaches were saying to do, and you kind of ignored it? So I just think that Wright could have an upper hand here in his rookie year. It doesn't mean Wright will be better for his whole career. Who knows? Doesn't mean they're both going to be good or both going to be bad. I don't know. But I do think Wright looks like he's ready to compete more at an NFL level for this upcoming season than Joseph is right now.
There are a couple things I wanted to add to this, because Kevin, I have Kelvin Joseph's, Lance Zierlein draft analysis, and I also have Nahshon Wright's draft analysis before the draft, so I can go through both of those. But that goes to a question that we've asked a number of times. Would you rather your team be smart, fast, or strong? Like, which one do you want? Speed, strength, or smarts? Which one of those S's is most important? And I think to get going faster, intelligence is very important because it helps you recognize things. Speed, I want all day, because eventually that's going to help once you learn it. If you're just too dumb to learn it, then we have a problem. But speed, I think you can make up for a lot of deficiencies with speed. Strong, if you're slow and strong, then it's not going to matter at the end of the day unless you're just ahead by everything. But Nahshon Wright, whenever he was coming out of the draft, here are some things that they said were his strengths. Learned lessons from 2019 and improved in 2020. That goes with what Mike was just saying. He looks like a guy that understands what he's supposed to do. Instinctive with plus route recognition. Bam. Those things, the experience that he got from 19 to 20 in those 2 seasons helped him learn how to recognize routes and what he's supposed to be doing. On the other side, very thin frame with skinny hips and legs. Like, we know that part about him.
Right.
Kelvin Joseph, who had 11 games with the special teams, Mike, so I'm going to say that with LSU, maybe he was, in the back of the line and all that stuff, but they said, hey, you're fast and physical, get out there on special teams. He has physical dimensions, but here it is. Prototypical build as an outside corner with size and length, full of confidence. That we know about him. Here's the bad side. highly inexperienced with more reps needed for development. Like that's and
so that kind of speaks to it right
feet
there.
Are a little jittery and uncertain from press. Tall back pedal with hitch when not. So Mike, he has to refine what he is, and he can only do that through reps. I think he's physical, and there's no doubt he's got the physical traits to be a good cornerback. It's just I think Mike's dead on with the experience that he's got to earn and gain over this time. I think it's going to take him a little longer for them to go, yeah, let's go ahead and put him out on the field or unless they have to. So I think Mike's dead on about this. Experience helps so much from what Wright did in college that he was able to learn lessons and apply those and get better the next year. And he's doing the same thing right now as he's working through camp as they're asking him to do things.
Corey, that was awesome. That was great
Thanks, buddy.
information right there. Kevin, I'm going to ask you this question based off of what I've said and what Corey just gave you. To start week 1, Thursday night, your depth chart for cornerback, what do you think it will be? Do you think the round dictates the depth chart, or do you think the play in preseason will dictate the depth chart?
I think the play in preseason because they're close enough in drafting. You know, like if, let's say Kelvin Joseph would have been like your first-round pick or your top 10 pick or whatever, then I think that would have made a difference. But otherwise, I think you probably, based on a lot of that, maybe you do push Wright ahead. And maybe that's why Kennedy was turning so many heads, because you were like, well, I mean, it doesn't matter because I've seen what you can do in these like practices and game situations.
Yeah, I think that this is a different coaching staff.
They don't follow the old rules.
Yeah, for whatever reason, Garrett didn't like it. I think McCarthy's just like, I'm just a ball coach.